Howdy everyone, it's me once again, the one and only Killer Rodan. Today I'm going to be reviewing an obscured adventure movie titled White Pongo. And I want to review this film because, well, let's just say that it is on my movie list that I've been keeping. Oh boy. And it is a long list. I've seen this film with the Amazing Maddie, so Amazing Maddie, if you're watching this review right now, I highly appreciate the fact that you watched this movie with me. Oh yeah. But of course, as usual, I do have to talk about the plot of this film. So let's get into it, shall we? Oh yeah. In this particular movie, folks, we get to see that there's this man whom is being held captive by these tribe. While this particular tribe does perform a certain dance, the man who was captured is freed by this particular doctor, whom is this aging scientist, whom entrusts him with a diary of his deceased friend. And as our main character is fleeing, he sees that there's this particular gorilla who attacked and killed a native warrior of this particular place in this jungle. And as you can tell, folks, it's quite obvious it's going to take place in a jungle-like area. So, of course, the character is shaken by this particular sight. So, yeah, that's pretty crazy right there. However, later on in the film, folks, we get to see that in London hospital, there's this other doctor by the name of Dr. Peter, whom shows the explorer, Sir Henry, this particular diary, which a character from earlier had gotten. So let's just say that the character that was held captive for a while had gotten this jungle fever, so to speak, and things go from even crazier from there. It does sound like a typical adventure film, folks, but I did end up enjoying this film enough to actually be entertained by it, so that's a good thing right there, I suppose. I didn't hate the movie at all, so gonna take that as a win right off the bat. It wasn't all bad. So yeah, folks, at the end of the day, this film wasn't too bad. And it did came out better than I was expecting it to be. So yeah, it might not be my favorite movie ever, but once I check this movie out, folks, it wasn't too bad, I suppose. I mean, granted, maybe some of the acting could have been done much better, sure. Some people did better than others, but overall, it wasn't too bad, of course. You know, some of them came out a little wooden, I'll tell you that right now. As for the costumes, the actors, or I'm not even sure if it were women or men who played in those, those gorilla outfits, but nonetheless, they performed pretty good, I guess. I did like some of the fight scenes that were in the movie. I mean, those two gorillas fought each other, that was pretty cool. And I like that. Yeah, I guess it was pretty well choreographed, I guess. It didn't come off amateurish. It didn't come off very lazy. I mean, yes, this is a low-budget film, of course. And that's the thing, folks. I'm usually reviewing low-budget films anyway, and I do have quite a few of them to review on my list. Yeah, folks, this movie does attempt to go into the whole idea of a missing link in this particular jungle adventure type of a movie, which I guess would make sense, I suppose, folks. So our group of main characters in this particular movie, they go into this particular region of the deepest unexplored areas of Africa. So yeah, there are some rumors in the storyline of the film that the mythical missing link have been discovered, half man, half beast, so to speak. So yeah, there's apparently supposed to be this monstrous albino type of a gorilla with human intelligence. So of course it gets pretty scary in a lot of ways. So the character, our main character in this particular movie is Sir Harry and his beautiful daughter, whom head up with a team of explorers. And there, of course, there's some wild stuff going on, of course, folks. So yeah, pretty much our group of characters in this particular movie, they are on the hunt in this particular jungle. And yes, of course, folks, why you can't tell that it's somebody in a costume, of course. But in some ways, I actually didn't mind that really, folks. Yeah, this kind of filmmaking is lost in a lot of ways, folks. They don't do that kind of thing nowadays. So it's definitely a treat to see this kind of thing being done in a lot of the older films. Yeah, this is one of the really early movies way back when that did this kind of thing, and it's a decent job at that. Oh yeah, I do miss this kind of thing. I will say that I will recommend this film, folks, and it may not be a grand masterpiece, but I found this film to be solid enough that I actually felt that this was rather enjoyable. Oh yeah. I can say that the editing didn't come off extremely choppy or anything. Yeah, it wasn't up to the point where you found it annoying, I'll tell you that. So, the editing overall may not win any awards for anything, but the editing wasn't too bad, I suppose, folks. So, it did its job, is what I'm saying. Whoever was the editor behind this film did his job. So, that's a good thing right there, folks. And, yeah, like they say, the editing makes the movie. In some ways, I do believe that, of course. So the editing wasn't all ham and chopped up or anything. So that's a good thing, folks. Yeah, I've seen lots of movies where the editing was awful. I even seen that in really big budget films. Oh boy. Really sloppy editing. Oh boy. But thankfully, that isn't here at all, because I can honestly see that there was actually some effort being done in that degree. So, of course, that's a good thing right there, folks. Oh yeah. And that's for the dialogue. The dialogue was pretty decent, of course. I mean, granted, maybe some of the dialogue was a bit cheesy, I guess, but overall, the dialogue wasn't unbearable or anything. Of course, also, folks, there was this whole love subplot going on here, folks. Yeah, there's a particular conflict going between the characters Sir Henry's personal assistant and the other character. So at first I thought having that kind of storyline going on would drag the movie too slowly, but thankfully it didn't do that, folks. I actually didn't mind it really, folks, but it's a plus in my book. In some ways I did feel that this film could have had been much better than what it was. I mean, granted, it's not a bad movie, folks. There's a coherent story in this film, folks, even though it's a bit generic, I guess you can say. But, yeah, it did have the potential to be much better, folks. And, yeah, the storyline isn't all that original, really, folks. And I felt that maybe if the screenwriter had put more of an effort into the certain characters and whatnot, it could have been much better. Again, I did not hate the movie or anything, folks, but at the end of the day, it turned out to be pretty decent, I guess. It's an overall decent movie, I suppose. And would I watch it again? Yeah, perhaps I would watch it again, folks. Yet the music itself is a bit generic, I guess you can say. The music is rather forgettable, I suppose. I don't remember any of the music at all. But I would suggest watching this film anyway, folks, because at the end of the day, like I said, it's pretty okay, I suppose. I didn't hate it. In some ways, this movie did remind me of King Kong, the original one from 1933, folks. But I know this film technically has nothing to do with that movie at all, really, folks. But in some respects of the story, in some regards, it does remind me of that, but not that I'm complaining though. That's pretty cool. Thankfully, this film was not a unbearable mess like some people might think. But folks, yeah, this film is rather obscured. It's one of those rare movies that a whole lot of people might not talk about. But I say check it out anyway, folks. If you can find this on a single disc DVD, I'll say give it a chance. And I did enjoy it. I enjoyed it enough that I wouldn't mind watching it again. This had a solid story. I mean, the story itself is pretty like a typical plot line, I guess you can say, for this genre of films. And yeah, it's an adventure movie, folks, like I mentioned earlier. If you're one of those people that do enjoy these adventure type movies, then most likely you would have an enjoyment for this film as well. It did entertain me long enough that I didn't complain. I wasn't bored. The pacing wasn't too bad, folks, I guess you can say. Pongo gets an overall rating of a 6.1 out of 10. And it gets a 6.1 out of 10 for me, folks. So yeah. As always, thanks for watching and take care. See ya. Oh yeah.